Hey everyone, you're checking in with the muscle mechanic for what is probably the most important stretch you can do. And I say this because most people are sitting a lot during the course of the day, hip flexors tighten up, low back gets tight, now we have low back pain. A lot of people don't know where it's coming from. Usually it's coming from here. There are certain people that don't have this issue at all. They're more tucked under with tighter hamstrings, but you'll know if you have low back pain pretty consistently that this is going to be an area you'll want to stretch, okay? So the easiest way, in my opinion, is to start on the floor with one knee back and your foot planted on the floor in front of you. For balance, I suggest having something next to you to hold on to so you don't lose your balance, and also your mirror on the side so that you can watch what your back is doing. Getting a pelvic tilt involved in this stretch is pretty much a priority. If you don't have a pelvic tilt, you're going to lose a lot of the importance of the stretch. So while you're still sort of in this 90-degree angle in both knees upright position, so I have a straight line from knee to shoulder, I want you to look in your mirror and see, how bad is this curve here? How can I change it? How can I flatten the back? So now we're turning the pelvis under, we're flattening the back, we're tightening the abs, we're tightening the glutes, and automatically that brings a stretch to the hip flexors. Okay, so I want you to really work on that. That's a hard one to get, and I'll probably talk to you about it later in another video if you join me for a pelvic tilt. So this is how we hold the first layer of a hip flexor stretch. We're getting some of the smaller muscle groups here, like our psoas muscle, which attaches from the mid-thigh all the way up into your cavity, your abdominal cavity, attaches to your low spine. That's what ends up pulling your back forward. So you're fighting that force by flattening your back, and you'll feel that pull there. Now, to intensify, you can take that arm overhead, keep that pelvic tilt, make sure you don't lose that strength there, and lean ever so slightly away from that back leg. And that will intensify the deeper stretch, okay? So after you've gotten through that first pass, you're going to shift forward. Work into that leg a little bit. You've been holding that a long time. Shift forward so that this leg is now behind you. This knee is going past your toe. And you're still trying to maintain the pelvic tilt here. And this can get tricky. So you're still trying to tighten up your belly, suck it into your spine, squeeze your glute, flatten your low back. Now, depending on how tight your quad muscle is, the big rectus femoris muscle that runs down the front of your leg, you may not be able to reach your ankle. In fact, you probably won't be able to. So all I want you to do is lift it. So now you've got this idea of reciprocal inhibition, where we are activating this opposing muscle group to stretch this one. And it's going to be a little bit of a pain to hold for a minute, but the more you do it, the more mobility you'll get there, okay? And then switch sides, again, trying to hold that position for 30 seconds or more. Now, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. Making sure everybody's still got me in the photo. I have nothing against a quad stretch standing up. However, a lot of people do tend to get into a pattern of holding themselves wrong. So always don't be a superstar. Hold on to something for balance. Most people can grab this way. If you can't and you've got to pull from the front and get the leg behind you, that's okay. But if you're in the habit of doing that, and I've seen this a lot, I want you to practice reaching back, trying to kick your ankle to your hand, because this is just reinforcing the weakness back here. So we want to strengthen the back end, hold on with your hand, and then, again, pelvic tilt. This and leaning forward and all that junk, you're getting a little bit of a stretch there, but we're not getting the really tight muscle, which is that rectus femoris, that if you don't pull that tailbone under and flatten your low back, you'll feel the difference once you get into that position. You'll be missing it if you don't, flatten the low back and create that pelvic tilt. Also, be mindful of how close are your knees. A lot of people pull wide instinctively because it's a little more comfortable. It's a little easier to grab that way. If you do that a lot and you notice, bring the knees all the way together and feel what that is. Maybe you want to switch hands. Hold it with that arm. Now you're really feeling a stretch on the lateral portion of your quad. But again, still tilt under, make sure your butt's tight, make sure you're activating your hamstring, and hold it. And that is how you stretch your quads.